Decorative and voices alive. Conversations with Mhambi, we rise. Empowering the future, standing strong. Zambia'S youth, where we all belong. Together we dream, together we grow. Building democracy, let the vision flow. Our voices matter, our story shine. It's our moment, this is our time. We rise, we shine, we build together. The future's bright, it starts right here. Zambia'S youth, bold and clever, stronger each day. The vision is clear. Hosted by Mhambi Musonda, with voices that shape tomorrow. Elias Musonda Pankata, Louis Mvula Zulu, Ray Daniel Zulu, Lashamo Samuel Maimbo. We rise, we shine, we build together. The future's bright, the time is now. Raise your voice, stand firm forever. Zambia'S youth, we lead with power.
Hey Zambia, are you ready to kickstart your Saturdays with insightful conversations, unmissable guests, and all the trending topics you need to know? Then you have to tune into the ZBTR TV show. It's an electrifying show every single Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. From current affairs to lifestyle, entertainment, and everything in between, we're your go-to source for vibrant discussions that matter to you. Mark your calendars. Every Saturday, 9 a.m. CST. Join the ZBTR TVS show live stream and be part of something amazing. And while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Most of our viewers are not subscribed, and we really want you to be part of our growing community. Also, give us a follow on our social media platforms to stay updated throughout the week.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday. This is a special edition of Zambia Blog Talk Radio with your host, me, Mhambi Musonda, as we talk to some of our young people. I'm grateful for this opportunity every time to be able to talk to you. I'm excited today because we'll be speaking to four great young men, young men who are making a difference in our community. And I won't belabor the point. I'm excited for this conversation, so we'll welcome them on. We have Louis, and we have Ray, and we have Elias, and we have Tomo, who will be joining later. Oh, two of us, only two who are here. We have Louis and Ray. So good morning, good afternoon, guys. How are you?
Good afternoon. Fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm excited for this conversation, and I thank you all for joining. So first, I'll direct this first question to the both of you. So introduce yourselves. Ray, obviously you're not new to Zambia Blog Talk Radio, but for some of our new viewers who might be meeting you virtually for the first time, tell us a little bit about who you are.
Hi everyone, my name is Ray Zulu, and I am the coordinator and speaker of the Junior Parliament Program. And I'm excited that I'm able to share this platform with Louis. I lead Louis under the Junior Parliament Program. So it's a blessing to be able to be together as leaders, as young leaders on this platform. So I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Excellent. Louis?
Hi everyone. My name is Louis Zulumbola, a student at Copperbelt University, pursuing Bachelor of Science in Mathematics and Education. Likewise, I'm a member of the Junior Parliament, and it's a blessing to be under the leadership of Ray Zulu, who is a friend and a brother as well at the same time. So it's really wonderful to be here.
Excellent. And I want to thank you, Ray, for inviting Louis and Elias. I'm definitely happy that they're here. I'm looking forward to hearing all of their thoughts. So the first question to you two, is to get us started, what does democracy mean to you personally? Because, of course, we'll be talking about building a vibrant civic culture. So I want you all just to answer this question. What does it mean to you personally? What does democracy mean to you? So I'll go with Louis first, then Ray.
Well, personally, I feel democracy at a personal level is, having the ability to select your own leaders, and also having the chance or opportunity to voice out issues that are affecting you at individual level and at national level as well. So that's what I feel democracy is, and it has a lot of values within it. So, but personally, I just feel it's just the opportunity to be able to voice out your issues, to be able to take part in what matters, what you feel matters to you, so that we are able to build a better nation.
Ray?
Yeah, for me, democracy, it is same in line with what my brother Louis said. It's a democratic system that allows people to choose their leaders and also shape decisions that in matters that affect their lives. And for me, I believe it's a continuous process. Most of the times, as people, we feel it just ends at choosing our leaders. But it is a lifestyle where when we choose our leaders, we have to continue to participate in different democratic systems, platforms, in order to ensure that maybe we influence change and also be able to help our leaders address the challenges that we are facing in our communities. So I believe it's an opportunity to choose our leaders and a continuous process of us citizens of a country and as young people to continue influencing decisions that would better our lives.
Excellent, excellent. So my second question is, this is again for both of you. Growing up in Zambia, when did you become aware of your civic rights or responsibilities? And either one of you can answer that first.
I can go first.
No problem.
All right. For me, growing up in our communities, it's very hard to know your civic responsibilities and civic rights that you have as a young person. Mostly the only time you'll be able to know that you have a right to choose your leaders and also participate in different democratic systems and platforms is when you reach the age of 18, where you're able to get the voter's card. And when you get the voter's card, it also ends at voting. Ideally, I believe that we do not understand what democracy is beyond voting, and this is what limits us as citizens of this country to be able to hold our leaders accountable and also perform our civic duties and civic responsibilities. So for me, the time I became fully aware, it's because of a church. I joined the church, and this church was connected to an organization called Jubilee Center, which initiated the Junior Parliament. So it's through that platform that I was able to know my civic responsibilities and also what democracy is. But ordinary Zambians and young people out there, they do not understand what democracy is, their civic duties and civic responsibilities. And these are things that are really limiting our capacity as a country to develop and change and have patriotic people in our country, because they don't know their duties and what they are mandated to do at the end of the day. So I believe it's very hard for an ordinary Zambian without platforms and systems to help them understand what democracy is.
Louis?
Well, growing up in our community, what I knew about democracy was really, something that I would just say uh, that I would use for school mostly, because of education, because of our curriculum. It requires you to know uh, it requires you to know what democracy is at the shallow surface, so you don't really know what exactly is involved. You don't even know your civic responsibilities. Well, you do know your civic responsibilities to answer questions for an exam, yes, but deep down, having an understanding about what you're supposed to do, and how you are supposed to take part in this thing that we're calling democracy, you don't really know it to a full extent. And for me, I knew it at a later stage. That was in 2021
Mm.
when Junior Parliament, through Jubilee Center, came to conduct a leaders workshop at my school, and I was a prefect by then. So that was the first time I had an encounter with what really is involved in democracy and the principles that are involved in democracy. That's when I started learning. Otherwise, we just know that it's all about voting, it's all about electing our leaders, but we don't really know what is involved in democracy. So a lot of people just end right there, say, no, it's just about voting for someone to represent us. But actually, what people should know is that it also takes them to participate so that it continues, so that the drive continues. And so it was not up until 2021 that I really came to understand my civic responsibilities and really understand what I'm supposed to do or how I'm supposed to take part so that I'm able to play a significant role in shaping my future or my country.
Ray, for those who don't know, can you explain what Junior Parliament is to some of our viewers who may not know what it is?
Okay, so Junior Parliament is a platform that was initiated in the year 2015 by a faith-based organization in Ndola, Zambia called Jubilee Center. So the goal is to groom young people in servant leadership and also expose them to different capacity building training so that they can be able to influence change in environmental, political, economic institutions, and also rekindle the spirit of patriotism in Zambia. And I'm excited to share that this is our 10th year anniversary, and it's good to see that just look at the change that has been taking place in our communities through the young people, and also being able to outlive the concept of democracy, and also being able to help young people understand their civic duties and responsibilities, and also help them understand that they are not too young to influence change, and they are not too young to be tools of change and inspiration, and also be able to change the narrative in Zambia. Yeah, so basically Junior Parliament is just a platform that gives young people a voice and also help groom them in servant leadership. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. I like that because I think it's important and it's good that sort of you explained what Junior Parliament is and how it can inspire people like Louis to pursue leadership and to foster a sense of civic culture. For Louis, I have this question for you. Do you think young people trust Zambia's political system? Why or why not? I know that might be a tough question, but I think you can handle it.
Well, from my perspective, I'd say they don't. And the simple reason is this, because you'll find that every time it's election period, like I'll give an example, we have people that come in and then they promise you that they will come and help you solve problems. We'll eradicate this, we'll bring in this, and we'll introduce new reforms that will benefit each and every person. But at the end of the day, you'll find that it's actually divided system where other people will agree with the person's views and how the person is running things, and then some others will disagree. So you'll find that it kind of creates a division, a line in between. And most of the people, this is where they get frustrated, and then they start saying, okay, I don't think I believe in uh in whatever is going on. you know it gets to a point where people get frustrated, and then they just stop participating in democratic issues, in issues that have to do with shaping the country. So yeah, I believe that people have lost their trust in Zambia's leadership system.
Ray, can you answer that question?
Yes. For me, yes, people have lost trust in Zambia's leadership because one, the gap that is there is when we talk up, like we highlighted the system of democracy. You know, most of the times, where as people we have an understanding of saying, okay, I only have a right and I only have a right to choose my leaders. That's where it ends, and these are the things we expect our leaders to deliver. So you find that because leaders cannot meet the expectations, promises, and also the manifestos that they sought to the people, you find that due to that lack of fulfillment, people lose faith in leaders, and also people lose faith in democracy. So you find that trust is lost. You find that due to that, people stop participating in governance, they stop fulfilling their civic duties and responsibilities. And, you know, that is a huge gap that is there. You find most people be saying, this time around, I'm not going to participate in voting because, but to be perfect of people, our leaders are always lying to us. They are not fulfilling their manifestos. They are not fulfilling their promises. So you find that this is one thing that is killing us as a country, you know, and one gap I see for sure is grassroots engagement. You know, you only find leaders engaging people when the time of campaigning comes, but people are not engaged day to day when it comes to shaping policies, sharing developmental ideas happening on the ground. Right now, the model of development in Zambia is decentralization, but we are not fully utilizing this concept of development that we are using as a country. So you find that it's a gap. People are not engaged, they're not informed. The only time we'll see people being engaged is next year when our leaders begin campaigning and asking for votes. And this is what is killing the trust that we have in our leaders. And this is what is also creating a gap where people have got ideas. We have developmental ideas. We are the ones that feel the challenges that are on the ground. We are the ones that can suggest solutions that can be implemented to address our felt needs. But you find that they don't even have an idea of the felt needs that are in the community. So I believe we are losing trust in our leaders because of we are only considered important when it comes to voting and not utilizing our potential and abilities that we have in fulfilling the civic duties and responsibilities that we have. Yeah.
How can we remedy that? How can we sort of how can we build an active, civic base among young people? Because we talked about sort of why people have, distrust in government. But I guess my question is, how can we fix that? And that's for both of you. How can we sort of fix this broken trust in sort of public institutions?
For me, I feel we have to be realistic. You know, when our leaders are trying to be in power, sometimes they become too ambitious and they give promises and manifestos that are hard to achieve. And you know, when it comes to meeting those expectations that you had placed from the start, people do not understand that development is a process. That's one reality that is on the ground. So you find that when you tell them, no, when I come into power, I'm going to do this and this, they expect that to happen in less than a month, in less than weeks, in some weeks, and in less than 5 years, they want that to happen. So you find that there's one information gap when it comes to what development looks like. And also politicians becoming too ambitious. I think we have to be realistic. And as we share our manifestos, we have to make sure that we also get ideas from the people. You share something based on the real needs of the people in the community. Same as councillors and members of parliament. It's easy for them to drive development looking at the issue, the concept of decentralization, because resources are right there in the community to address people's needs. So So in addressing this, we have to use decentralization, one, by engaging consistently, engaging people. You find that these zones, WDCs, ward development committees, are there so that people can, drive development. So if we can utilize these structures in the community to, one, share information and let the people participate in development, it will really break, this system. And one other thing, we have to move civic education from being just a topic, but something that is really practical. When we are learning, I remember I was taking civic education in school, and most of the times when you're learning, you're just studying to pass the exams and not to understand what it really means. And I think it goes back to the teachers that teach in school to help us understand that civic education is something that will help us shape our communities, shape our country, Zambia, and also help us understand the rights that we have and duties, and also what we are expected to do as citizens. I believe when it starts from there, we'll be able to change the narrative. What I see now, the biggest problem that we have right now in Zambia is information gap. People don't know their rights fully. People do not know what they are expected to do, and people just we are used to say our leaders are going to do this and this, but not knowing we are the ones that are there to help our leaders, lead effectively. And also, when we start from the ground, I believe it also begins with changing the leader's mindset. If a leader does not understand what democracy looks like, looking at the model of decentralization that we have right now, they are not going to be intentional about engaging people on the ground and addressing these issues that we have. So I believe it also goes back to leaders. I think one of the solutions that I can propose, leaders have to be intentional at engaging people and also sharing information, so that we should have a targeted approach where we target the youths, we target the women, we target the aged, we target the men. Through these engagements, we'll be able to address information gap. For me, it also just comes back to lack of information out there.
Louis, what are your thoughts on sort of this information gap between, the people and the government?
Well, the information gap is there, and I would really encourage or suggest that we focus our attention into conveying relevant information such that people know what to expect and what not to expect. Because just as Ray said, our leaders get too ambitious sometimes. They start promising things that at the ground, on the ground, are really, really, really very difficult to achieve. I would give an example of Zambia's energy deficit that has been an ongoing problem since somewhere 1990 something, because it was projected to say that as Zambia is expanding, we'll need another source of energy. But when you look at every government that has come into power, they've been saying the same thing. No, we'll do this, we'll do that, we'll do this, and then years down the line, you still find yourself in the same problem, and then we still have leaders promising something that is really unrealistic, because you just can't end the energy deficit in just 5 years or 10 years. So I'll suggest that they be realistic in terms of what they can deliver and what they cannot deliver. Because as people, we when you tell us to say you do this for us, we'll really be expecting that this person owns up to what they've promised. So that is one of the things that have frustrated people and that has made people lose their trust. So it's just about information, conveying the right information.
I sort of I appreciate both of your responses, because I think it's similar to what we're seeing now. A lot of people are frustrated with sort of the lack of promises, or the lack of delivery from the UPND government, and we know that they won in 2021 because they promised a total reform of government. And I think as citizens we don't really understand that campaigning is different from actually, governing. It's actually much difficult once you're in a, a position of, influence to get things done. And I think the problem is with our leaders, and you see this not just, in politics, but I think, in life, that we leadership and particularly political leaders, they're not as forthcoming as they should be when they sort of, are campaigning, I promise you this, I promise you this, I promise you this. But you have to consider, you got to go through, the National Assembly there, there's other forms, there are other levers of government, of institutions that, control whether or not a policy is implemented. And I think this information gap that you all talked about is very important, especially as we head toward the national elections next year when people are going to be, again, deciding whether or not to keep the government in power. So it segues into my next question, which is about sort of digital. We live in a social media generation. We live in a digital generation. So my next question, and Louis, you can answer this first, is how has social media changed the way that we as young people engage with politics and civic issues in Zambia?
Well, I would first start by saying it really has helped because it's one way of being informed. It brings information firsthand. We Most of the young people are really informed and stay up to date with current affairs and what's going on. But again, the dark side is that there is a lot of misinformation. So you'd find that uh, people tend to get the wrong picture about something, even when that thing is not true. But you'll just find that there's an array of information on social media. People end up don't know what to believe. So, in as much as it's a powerful tool, it can also be used to destroy democratic principles of values of a nation, and how it is used also matters. So it's a really good thing, I would say, because it's we get informed a lot through social media, and yeah.
Ray, I would like for you to answer this question as well, because social media is a bit of a catch-22, right? Because it limits the traditional barriers, right? We as regular people, we can, comment under, our, political leadership. We can comment under, civic organizations. So in one way, social media has made it more readily available for us to, be civically informed by allowing us to communicate with our leaders in real time. But on the other hand, it's also a social media has been used to convey misinformation, disinformation. My question to you, as I directed to Louis, is that is social media making we know that it's making a difference, but is it making a substantive difference in how we look at sort of our civic and political culture?
Yeah. The coming in of social media makes a huge difference. I'll make reference to a town hall meeting, the youth town hall meeting that I was attending last week, Saturday. And one of the things that came out was like the reason why I highlighted the issue of information gap is one of the things that I noticed from the youth town hall provincial youth town hall meeting that we had. And government officers were talking about how they've digitalized every government services when it comes to information on the amount of things, policy review that the government is doing. They'll be able to share information and all that. So you find that people have the opportunity to be informed when maybe, for example, the Ministry of Youth is reviewing maybe the NYDC Act, the National Youth Development Council Act. They've been able to share information and get submissions from the young people. But for me, the gap that I see when it comes to social media is when it comes to information to deal with governance. You find that there are some social media platforms that twist information. There's one misinformation, and a lot of times people do not understand the language that is used on social media when it comes to governance and other information that the government shares through social media. So we find that in as much as information is being shared, there's a lack of understanding, misinterpretation, and also misuse of information. But I believe social media is a great tool. But what is important when it comes to political leaders and all those leaders that are utilizing social media to reach out to us as citizens, you have to consider, when it comes to communication, there are a lot of communication barriers. When you are using language that is too difficult for certain people to understand, you find that they are not going to get the message. And you'll be able to say, no, we opened up, we advertised that we wanted reviews or submissions from the people for us to amend this act, but no one was coming forth. You find that maybe people do not understand what you were talking about. So I believe social media also limits the understanding of people, because our leaders sometimes are too technical. There's technical information that is shared that an ordinary Zambian cannot understand. That's why one submission I made at this town hall meeting in addressing the challenge that we shared on information gap is decentralize information. Already government is saying the model of development, that approach of development we use is decentralization. So by all means, find a way of taking this information on the ground. These WDCs, what development committees, are very effective. Very, very effective, because they are right there in the community. So when you find that information, when information is shared on social media, you also share through these decentralized structures. At least if they are able to share in those community zonal groups, they'll be able to say, oh, that information you saw on social media, the objective was this and this and this. Maybe if you wanted people to submit through comments and any other way of giving feedback, they'll be able to go back and share because someone helped them understand what you're trying to get from them. So I believe social media is a great tool, but most of the times technical information is being shared there, which ordinary Zambians do not understand. And you find that most of the times voices that are heard, limited voices, because a few people are the ones that are able to understand. And again, most of us as Zambians, we take things as a joke. That's where the problem is. You find that we are on social media to be entertained. We are on social media to just be watching comedy, which I believe is not wrong, but to a greater extent, we prioritize, comedy and, talking about people enjoying drama on social media, but we don't focus on these social media platforms where they're sharing information, and also our political leaders, because I believe they are also updating us. No, I implemented this project, I said this in parliament and all that, but we don't go on those pages. So I believe as a people, we should also look at social media as a tool of, getting information, and not just focusing on comedy and entertainment, and also going there to see what our leaders are doing. So it's a very huge and effective tool that we can use to inform our people and address the challenge of the information gap. But I believe also when you post on social media, decentralize that information on the ground, so that even that grandma or youth that is not on social media will be able to be informed about the submissions that you're trying to get through the people. Yeah.
We talk about barriers. So this is my next question, and both of you can answer this. What barriers, social, economic, or political, limit youth participation in civic life? So Louis, I'll go for you for that one.
Sorry, can you kindly rephrase the question?
What barriers limit youth participation in civic and political life?
So barriers that limit youth participation in civic and political rights. I would say, first of all, it's the mentality that we have as citizens. That would be the first one I would highlight. That is because, to some extent, we feel like certain things we can't participate because we don't have resources. Well, some things, you can just go there. They don't even require you to pay anything or anything. So I would say it's the mentality that we have, and then to some extent as well, we feel as though the participation in civic duties or political issues is left to a certain group of people. which is a very bad mentality that we have as citizens, because that's not the way it should be. Each and every person should play a significant role in shaping the future, in shaping our country. So yeah, and you also find that education also plays a great role to some extent, because some of these things, it's not really that we don't want, but again, genuinely you don't know, because the literacy levels currently are pretty high. That's one thing that I'll mention. So you find that it's not because people don't want to sometimes, but it's rather people don't really know what is going on, and they don't know where to start from. They don't know how to pitch in. They don't know nothing really. So education also plays an important role. Where a community, if sensitized or educated to a certain extent, or to the right extent, I say, then a lot can come forth from that community. So you'll find that even participation will really be high, because people know what they're engaging themselves into. But you can't really expect participation when you haven't explained, or when the people don't really know what they're doing.
Mm.
So yeah, that's my take.
Ray, what barriers, be they social barriers, be they economic barriers, be they political barriers, limit youth from experiencing the fullness of civic life?
So for me, there are economic barriers, social barriers, and political barriers.
Mm.
So one, I'll start with political barriers. When it comes to political barriers, partisan tendencies, uh, attitudes, and a critical barrier that is really affecting every youth to participate in democracy and also fulfill their civic responsibilities and duties. You find when you're not from a certain political party, you are not going to be accommodated to participate or engage or even influence decisions at various structures. And when you're seen maybe interacting with a leader from a certain political party, and maybe this leader is from the ruling party, they are going to consider you as a threat because
Mm.
you interacted with a person from the opposition. So we find that there's no accommodation. Like these partisan tendencies are what are killing the fulfillment of democracy and empowering us as young people to effectively and freely fulfill our civic responsibilities and rights. And when it comes to social barriers, I believe many people feel my voice doesn't count.
Mm-hmm.
People feel less of themselves. They're like, I'll use a Bemba term. They will say, if we take to land, they feel their status and where they come from limits them to speak. And when they speak, they're not going to be heard. So we find that most of the young people are like, I've never been educated.
Mm.
I come from a very humble background, so I'm not empowered to speak out. I'm not empowered to influence. And also one other barrier is the issue of lack of emphasis on civic education. And I believe civic education shouldn't just end in school. It should be a continuous process
Yeah.
where we are helping people each day, helping them and reminding them of their civic responsibilities, rights, and duties that they have. And sometimes we also need to interpret these civic duties and responsibilities in our local languages. Maybe you find a lot of people in the village, like Louis earlier highlighted the issue of illiteracy levels. You find that when someone is not in school and looking at how high our illiteracy levels are in Zambia, it limits us because a lot of people do not understand. And most of our publications on civic education are in English, which people cannot read and understand. If we can interpret our civic publications to help people understand their rights, to help people understand what democracy is, what they're expected to do, I think this will help us break the barrier. And that continuous, sharing of civic rights and civic responsibilities, because even the old people, they matter to society. But you
Yes.
find them saying, no, we've grown old, we cannot do anything. But that is a source of wise counsel, and they hold history, they hold the history of these communities where we are coming from. And history is a very huge resource for us to understand how best we can sustain the legacy of our communities and how we can influence development. But that barrier where they're old and they feel I cannot offer my time and energy because I'm old, but we have to continuously remind people of their rights and civic duties. It shouldn't end in secondary or primary school. It should be continuous. Then one other thing I picked is issues of poverty and unemployment. You find that as a result of unemployment, someone who is going to prioritize going for a piecework and not fulfill their civic responsibilities and duties. They'll say, should I go for that meeting? Or maybe I go and maybe sweep someone's yard so that I can earn something at the end of the day. And looking at Zambian youths right now, the issue of unemployment is very worrying. And this is really disorganizing a lot of young people, turning into illicit activities. And it's very heartbreaking to share right now that the rate at which young people are becoming, a very common term right now in Zambia, junkies, is very worrying. Violence each day. Young people are fighting each day. Young people are abusing drugs each day. Young people are just doing unproductive things. So you find that even for me, I'm very scared for the future because a huge number of young people are the ones becoming unproductive because of the issues of unemployment. And I feel our education system again is a problem because I feel when people finish their secondary education, their minds are locked up to theories that do not help them after leaving secondary education. One thing, if you don't have an opportunity to go to university, you feel your life ends there. But our education system should change where when I complete my grade 12, even if I don't have an opportunity to go to university, the skills and information that I got from my secondary education should be able to empower me to be productive. Yes. When it comes to self-awareness, when it comes to survival skills like entrepreneurship, issues of agriculture, there are production units in schools, but we don't utilize those production units to empower young people with skills of farming, skills of survival skills like knitting, carpentry, and all that. When we come out of school, we leave all the information in our schools because most of the things that we learn, they don't really help us. They're just theories that help us pass exams, but not theories that help us survive when we get out of schools. So it's heartbreaking to share that the plight of young people right now in Zambia is so scary. I'm scared for Zambia's future leadership. I'm scared of Zambia's future mothers, husbands, and fathers and wives. It's very worrying, and I hope our leaders will be able to just look at the life of young people, right? The lives of the young people right now in Zambia and see how best, they can just help them and just awaken what God has deposited in them and also help address these junkies that we are seeing right now. These are just broken youths that do not know their worth and what they can do. And if the government can just acknowledge and see that and see how best they can come up with, capacity building trainings. And we have the CDF funds. Yeah. We are utilizing infrastructure development and development that is not really meeting the needs of the people. We are not doing needs assessments on the ground. These are things we are supposed to prioritize. If we can harness the potential of this majority of people in our communities, we will see communities being transformed. We will see ideas of development being harnessed. We will see democracy being outlived. We will see a powerful communities full of vibrant minds, talents that are contributing to socio-economic development in our communities. So it's really heartbreaking. It breaks my heart to just see how young people are just becoming unproductive and how we are losing so much potential out there that can help us become a powerful nation that God has called us to be. Yeah.
Louis, do you have any thoughts on that? Any thoughts on what was just said about? I think that was a fantastic presentation on sort of why we're facing a lot of these issues. Oh, we have some comments. Brothers, be blessed and continue to fight forward. Amen.
Amen.
The issue with our generation, it is a worldwide issue. It is a worldwide issue. Motivate the younger generation to focus on studying blockchain technology and AI. It is a wave of the future. Also focus on the trades like electrical, carpentry, and mechanical industries. Just as you said, Ray, for those who won't be able to, go to school, the purpose of secondary schooling is also to supplement, skills that you learn at home, right? You learn basic skills at home, but it should also be able to supplement, the skills that you learn at school. So Louis, I want to know if you have any thoughts on what was just said. Oh, we can't hear you. Can you hear us? All right, we'll go to a quick commercial break and we'll see you guys on the other side.
Welcome to VibeForge AI Studios, where creativity meets innovation for artists, businesses, and ministries everywhere. We craft high-quality media fused with AI magic. Fast, affordable, and professional. From ad campaigns to event promos and music videos, our AI tools bring your vision to life. Whether you're an artist, entrepreneur, content creator, or ministry, VibeForge is built for you. Our work is driven by faith, innovation, excellence, and integrity, always. See our portfolio on YouTube at The Christian Blogger and imagine what we can create for you.
Let's build something extraordinary together today. Call, WhatsApp, email, or visit our website.
Okay, we're back. And we still have, I believe we have Louis, but we also have Ray. So we'll bring Ray back. Ray, are we experiencing? I think we have him there. Ray, are you there? Uh-oh. Well, we're experiencing some difficulties today. I believe Ray is still there, but we'll be right back and we'll figure this out. I don't believe Ray is here. We'll take another brief break and we'll figure it out. So thank you all so much for understanding.
ZBTR TV presents Conversations with Mhambi.
Empowering the future, strengthening democracy, and building a vibrant civic culture among Zambia's youth. Tune in every third Saturday of the month as I host young, vibrant Zambian guests discussing matters of national interest. Good morning and welcome to Conversations with Mhambi, where Zambia's young voices share ideas that shape our nation's future. I'm your host, Mhambi Musonda.
All right, so that was actually a new ad, and we're talking about the power of AI. That was an AI, an AI generated ad. Louis, good to see you back. Okay, all right. So I have, as we sort of conclude this hour, and I want to thank you, and I want to thank Ray. There he is. I want to thank you all for joining us. Number one, I know we're experiencing some difficulties earlier, but you two stayed, so I really appreciate it. So my last three questions are, and Louis, you can answer this first. What leadership qualities do you believe are essential among the young people of Zambia? You're on mute.
Leadership
There you go.
qualities that I think are essential among young leaders in Zambia. I think a leader should be empathetic. Uh, a leader should be able to sympathize with the people, with the community. Should be able to know what they need, and a leader should be able to engage with the community as well, because you have to know where to start from, what to do, what exactly to do, because you just can't start working from without. You have to understand the problems that the people are facing, the challenges that they go through day to day, etc. So I think a leader should be able to think within those lines, and a leader should be able to be creative, because you also have to work within well out of your means, to come up with certain strategies that benefit each and every person individually. Yeah, even if not everyone benefits, but at least 80% should benefit. So I think those are the qualities that a leader should have. Yeah.
Ray?
For me, the qualities that the leader should have is one, a leader should be transformative in nature. What I mean by this is a leader should be able to create a ripple effect of transformation. You know, leadership is an opportunity for us to create other leaders. So when you are a youth leader or any leader in any place where God has blessed you to be, you have to be transformative in nature so that you're able to create a ripple effect of transformation. When you transform one person, that other person has to transform the other person. So I believe that is a critical tool of leadership that would also help us, address the many challenges that youths are facing when it comes to, self-awareness, when it comes to understanding their potential, and also when it comes to utilizing the essence of the essence of who they are and why God designed them. And one critical leadership quality that I've also learned over time, a leader should be able to create a vulnerable environment. What I mean is, most leaders do not know, one way to reach people and transform people is by creating a place where someone can become vulnerable. And vulnerability is a tool that we can use to transform people, build trust, and also be able to know how best we can reach them. And most leaders struggle in creating these vulnerable environments where people can just trust themselves with them to ensure that they utilize the potential and capacity of what God has deposited in people they are leading, and also be able to provide a favorable environment where people can just be open with them, offload their burdens, and see how best they can reach them beyond the responsibilities and mandates that they are expecting to fulfill, but also reaching people's inner being and also transforming them from the inside. So I think these are two critical skills and qualities that I believe every leader should possess in just transforming people.
And my next question to both of you is, are those leadership qualities that you stated, are they being nurtured? So Louis, you can answer first.
Well, with platforms such as Junior Parliament, yeah, I strongly believe that they're being nurtured, and that's why I would encourage that we have more platforms that are of that caliber, that are of this caliber, because they're really helping grooming young leaders. I myself am a product of the platform, and I can say since coming, since being part of the platform, it has really transformed me, and I really think in a way that is, say, unique from the rest, because I don't just look at things from problematic views, but I also try to provide solutions, as though that should be one of the qualities that a leader should have, being able to provide solutions to problems. So so I would say, with platforms such as Junior Parliament, yeah, those qualities are really being nurtured. And I've actually observed a number of platforms, organizations that are coming up, by that are just pioneered by my peers, not really people that are old, but my peers. So it's really encouraging to see that, because it means that as young people, we are now we are now walking from the sidelines to the center stage. We're now grabbing the bull by the horns, because we've decided to not just be spectators, but be vibrant participants in driving change and transformation. So I'd say with platforms such as Junior Parliament, yeah, those qualities have been mentioned.
Ray?
Um, for me, I believe, it should also start from the homes where we're coming from.
Mm.
You have to nurture leadership from the homes, and let me use this platform to also advocate for, parents being available, not just being available to meet the needs of their children, but being available in grooming leaders. I think that's where it should all start from. You find that when it comes to maybe platforms like Junior Parliament and other, I'm not disputing what my brother Louis said, but I'm looking at it from a sustainable approach where each and every individual should be reached out to. So I believe when such platforms like Junior Parliament and other platforms are there to mentor people in leadership, you find that the reach is limited. We cannot accommodate all the young people in Zambia. I think it should come back, it should start from home. Parents need to be there to pour out in the lives of the kids and just help them understand the qualities that helps one to become a leader. It also goes to churches. Churches are also the best institutions to reach people, groom people, guide people. Let it beyond people coming to attend church and then you just preach the message. It's beyond just preaching that message that you want people to be reached. You are supposed to start grooming them and preparing them to be leaders. And you find that the church most of the times is distanced, when with intentionality of grooming leaders. So I believe the church has to be intentional about grooming these leaders through the different ministries that they have, especially with the youth ministry. Let the youth ministry not just be about uh, activities. Let also them be activities where we nurture leaders and we stop complaining about leadership qualities, the caliber of leaders that we are having in our nation, because all these leaders are coming from the churches. So if churches can be at the center of grooming people, the church and the family can be at the center of grooming leaders, I think we are going to have a different crop of leaders, a different generation that is prepared, groomed, informed, and at the center of everything. So I believe God used the church not just for spiritual growth, but also growth in capacity, physical growth, and these other needs that have to be met. So I think we have to move away from just looking at the church as a place of spiritual growth, but we look at the church in a sustainable, meeting the needs of the people in a sustainable way. And I believe that's what God has called the church to do. It's beyond spiritual, it's beyond just preaching. It's about creating a generation and centering sermons, sermons that are transformational, not just sermons that are prosperity centered, not just sermons that are centered on, no, God is going to address your challenge, but sermons that are centered on growth, people being aware of what God has deposited in them and what God has called them to be a light that shines bright in their communities. So I believe those two approaches can just really help us change the narrative that we have in the lives of the young people, and also change the narrative that we have on the population and Zambian leadership. Yeah.
Good. My final question to both of you is, what advice would you give someone who is, 16 or 17? We know that right now it's graduation season, so a lot of high schoolers are graduating. What advice would you give to a graduate, high school graduate, who wants to make a difference but doesn't know where to start? We all came from school, so I'll let anyone answer the question first. What advice would you give to someone who's just graduating, wants to make a difference but doesn't know where to start?
Well, one thing that I would tell someone out there is first know who you are, because that's one thing that I actually struggled with. It's knowing my identity and my purpose. So say it all comes down to discovering who you are, and once you do that, you'll be able to maneuver around and see how best you can be able to make a difference, because God has deposited different capabilities within us, and some of us are gifted with very different abilities. So we can make a difference somewhere else. It might be in the health industry and the education sector, different sectors of life. So it all comes down to knowing who you are. The moment that someone actually discovers who they are and what they were brought on earth to do, their intended purpose, then yeah, everything else just unfolds itself.
Great. Well, I think he's frozen, but I wanted to pose this question to you, Louis, and both of them. Today is today's National Day of Prayer, Reconciliation, and Fasting. So I wanted to know what that means to you, and what that means to us as young people. What does that day mean? What does this day mean to you?
Well, personally, I believe the relationship between gods and people, it all comes down to an individual relationship. It all depends on the relationship that you have with you and God. This day was, brought about to facilitate the reconciliation, or as a nation as a whole. I would say it's more of a guide. you know Say there has to be a day where we have to look back and turn to God, and ask for guidance, ask for forgiveness, and so on. So this day, personally, it's a day just like any other day, except it also becomes a day where I reflect upon my journey as a person in Christ. So yeah, a lot of people will have different perspective, different views over this day, but that's my take.
Ray, my question was, what does this day? And I know as someone like you who is you're very passionate about the things of God, and you're very passionate about civic engagement. And Louis, he answered very brilliantly. What does this day, National Day of Prayer, Fasting, and Reconciliation, mean to you? And what does it mean to the country of Zambia? Of course, we know that this is the first one without the late former president who passed away earlier this year. So, what does this day, National Day of Prayer and Fasting, mean to you?
For me, I look at the National Day of Prayer and Fasting as a day of reconciliation and time for us as a nation to reflect on where we are, relationships we're supposed to restore, and also how best we can be united as a population, as Zambians, and as leaders. And I think it's I can't lie. This time around, I feel it's very different in a way, because as people, we are not as engaged, involved as we are supposed to be, and I've seen the church as really distanced itself from the National Day of Prayer. Years back, we would see the church being in the forefront of organizing, and churches at community level also, taking this day as part of, their calendar. But right now, you find that people, churches, leaders, and people in the community are no longer attached to this National Day of Prayer and Fasting. And it's a very good day that I believe God used the former president, may he so rest in peace, to be able to, come up with this day, so that as a nation we'll be able to align with God and be able to outlive a Christian nation that we are. And for me, it's just a message to Zambians, and to remind them to say, let's not just take this day as any other ordinary day. Let this day be a day where we can reflect, see how best we can promote unity, how best we can understand why we're called a Christian nation, and also outlive Christianity, live our lives based on who we are known for. Not just say we are Christian nations, but we are at the center of promoting tribal remarks. We are at the center of fighting one another. We are at the center of not respecting each other's opinions when it comes to, politics. But I believe let this day help us understand that we are one Zambia, one nation, and we belong to one family of God. And also, as Zambians, I think we also have to use this day to help our leaders understand that what we want is unity and not division. We have to be in the forefront, praying and standing in the gap of our leaders, because right now the political landscape in Zambia is so much of division and hatred. I believe through this day, we should be able to just restore unity and promote humanity amongst ourselves, and just remind us that Zambia is bigger than all of us. Zambia is bigger than the politics, and Zambia is bigger than what we believe in and the ideas that we have. It will only take Zambians to develop Zambia, and let this day of prayer and fasting be at the center of our hearts, and let it begin small, praying for our neighbors, praying for one another. I believe when it begins with us as a people, it will be able to trickle down to our leaders, because when we outlive this, we make a footprint in our hearts of this day, I believe it will force every leader to not just take this day as an ordinary day, and to force our leaders. Sometimes I think we have to force them, because most of them are not willing to promote unity. And through this day, we have to help them understand we are tired of division, we are tired of fighting, we are tired of tribalism. Zambia, our tribe is Zambian. My tribe is not Nsenga, my tribe is not Tonga, my tribe is Zambian. So I believe if we can just rise as a people, we'll be able to force our leaders. Sometimes going forward, I think we just have to force our leaders by just being that force that allows people to see the bigger picture. When we continue moving with this narrative, things won't change.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. Any final thoughts from the both of you you'd like to share before we finish?
My final thought is, I want to thank you first with you and Pastor for just thinking of us as young people and helping us understand what democracy is. And, such conversations help us to live out and become the people that God has called us to be when it comes to being responsible citizens. It's beyond having a conversation. Like for us, when we go out of this conversation, it will be part of us, and will be held accountable by our own words, not from the people, but what was coming from our hearts, to be able to be the message that we are preaching. So thank you for being intentional and helping us as young people know we have a role to play in shaping our country, Zambia. For me, keep up with the same spirit and just continue, thinking about young people. Let this program for young people be consistent, because when you continue engaging us like this, it will force us to become the people that we desire to be. Because sometimes even myself and Louis, we've been learning all this, but we don't have platforms where we can go and share what we are learning. So if you continue giving us such platforms and many other young people out there, it will just make us be change makers and people that are able to share the message to many Zambians. And one challenge you've given me through this interaction is being intentional about sharing this information, even with my neighbors, the friends that I have around. I shouldn't just stick to members of junior parliament, but it should be trickled down to my church, my neighbors, and other people that are around me. So thank you for challenging me in a good way, and thank you for challenging us to be better young people through these conversations. Yeah.
Well, thank you, my brother. Louis, you have any final thoughts you'd like to share?
First and foremost, I just want to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to be on this platform and air out my views. Yeah, I was in the process of preparing because I'm writing my session examinations on Monday. So But I took the time to attend this platform because I'm a person that believes that, you know, development isn't just centered on formal education alone, but also rather tapping into the other potentials that you have. So yeah, that's why I decided, you know, to be on to stick around and yeah, join the platform, out a few views here and there. Otherwise, it's really encouraging, and knowing that there are other people out there that are also trying to make a difference in the world, and we need more people like that, especially in our nation, Zambia, because for us to develop, it's going to take each and every person to contribute, even though in as much as we might feel that our contributions aren't that significant, but when you compound them at the end of the day, the effort is very huge. So yeah, I just want to say thank you for giving me this opportunity. It's really been a wonderful conversation.
Well, thank you too. And well, I appreciate you, Louis. We know you're writing exams, so I appreciate it. So I know how it is as a fellow college student.
Okay, no.
Thank you all, Louis and Ray, for your cooperation. We're supposed to have two
And
additional ones. Yes, sir.
final message from Louis and myself. I
No
think one
problem.
thing we forgot to talk about is the topic that we had at hand. I think the message to the people out there, and especially the youth, is democracy is, like we stated, democracy is beyond voting. Democracy is a lifestyle where we need to continue shaping our communities. So let us not wait for 5 years to choose our leaders, but let us also move with the concept that it doesn't end at choosing a leader. When we choose a leader, that's when work begins to hold our leaders accountable, to participate in development processes, and also to shape the development that we want to see in the communities through advocacy and also participation. So it's a challenge to us as young people. Let us be the change that we want to see in our communities, and let us outlive the concept of democracy. Let it be the heartbeat in our hearts, and let our hearts break when we see things not moving the way they're supposed to be. When you and I become, according to what my brother Louis said, become active participants in development and democracy, that's when we'll be able to create the Zambia that we desire and dream of. We can't leave everything up to our leaders. A leader is just a person that God has appointed to stand in one position and be able to represent the Zambians. And us, as the people that are being led, we are the people that God has chosen to take ideas and help that leader achieve the mandate that comes with their leadership and achieve the mandate that God has placed before them. So let's work hand in hand with our leaders and also outlive our civic responsibilities to ensure that we create the Zambia that we want to see. Thank you.
Amen. Amen. Thank you to the both of you. Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Louis, again for your cooperation, your willingness. This is great, and I'm very excited. I'm very thankful to the both of you that we were able to share in this discussion. I know there are some difficulties here and there, but we did it with stride, and I really appreciate the both of you. And may God continue, of course, to bless the both of you. It's always great to be surrounded by fellow young people who have same passion for the upliftment of our people. So I thank the both of you, and may God continue to bless you. And we'll make sure to do this again.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So much.
Bye bye.
Hey Zambia, are you ready to kickstart your Saturdays with insightful conversations, unmissable guests, and all the trending topics you need to know? Then you have to tune into the ZBTR TV show. It's an electrifying show every single Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. From current affairs to lifestyle, entertainment, and everything in between, we're your go-to source for vibrant discussions that matter to you. Mark your calendars. Every Saturday, 9 a.m. CST. Join the ZBTR TVS show live stream and be part of something amazing. And while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Most of our viewers are not subscribed, and we really want you to be part of our growing community. Also, give us a follow on our social media platforms to stay updated throughout the week.
Boys are salary. Conversations with Mhambi, we rising. Empowering the future, standing strong. Zambia'S youth, where we all belong. Together we dream, together we grow. Building democracy, let the vision flow. Our voices matter, our story shine. It's our moment, this is our time. We rise, we shine, we build together. The future's bright, it starts right here. Zambia'S youth, bold and clever, stronger each day. The vision is clear. Hosted by Mhambi Musonda, with voices that shape tomorrow. Elias Musonda Pankata, Louis Mvula Zulu, Ray Daniel Zulu, Lashamo Samuel Maimbo. We rise, we shine, we build together.